Donny Osmond has been one of America's most beloved entertainers, an icon of charm, talent, and family values. From his teenage stardom in The Osmonds to his solo career, television shows, and Las Vegas residencies, Donny has lived nearly his entire life under the bright glare of the spotlight. But amid all the fame, there has always been one mystery that fans can't help but wonder about: his wife, Donny Osmond. Unlike her superstar husband, Debbie has stayed almost completely out of the public eye. While Donny performs for millions, she remains quietly in the background, rarely photographed, rarely interviewed, and never seeking attention. For years, people have speculated why she avoids the spotlight. Was it a strained marriage, health problems, or simply a desire for privacy? Now, after decades of silence, Donny has finally opened up about the truth behind their unusual dynamic, and what he revealed has left fans both heartbroken and deeply moved. In a rare and emotional interview, Donny confessed that keeping his wife away from fame wasn't about secrecy, but about protection. "She gave up her world so I could live mine," he admitted, his voice breaking with emotion. Behind the smiles and showbiz glamour lies a love story that's far more complex than anyone imagined. A story of sacrifice, devotion, and the heavy price of fame. This is the heartbreaking truth behind Donny Osmond's marriage, and why the woman who has stood beside him for nearly half a century has chosen to stay hidden from the world. From the outside, Donny Osmond's life has always looked like a dazzling display of fame, fortune, and flawless charm. For more than 5 decades, he has been the smiling face of American entertainment, the teenager who stole hearts on The Andy Williams Show, the musical prodigy who lit up the stage with his siblings, and later, the Las Vegas headliner who could make any crowd swoon with just a wink. But behind that polished showbiz persona lies a very different story, one centered around a woman the world rarely sees: his wife, Donny Osmond. Unlike many celebrity couples who bask in public attention, Donny and Debbie have always chosen a different path. Their relationship, which began long before Donny became a global superstar, has been one of quiet devotion. Debbie was only 15 when they met, and Donny, then just starting to taste fame with the Osmonds, was captivated by her warmth and normalcy. While girls all over the world screamed his name, he found himself drawn to the one girl who didn't treat him like a pop idol. In many ways, that very difference would become the foundation of their love story. Yet, keeping such a relationship alive in the glare of Hollywood lights wasn't easy. Donny's fame exploded in the early 1970s, from hit records and TV shows to sold-out tours, and with that came intense media attention. For a young couple, the pressure was immense. Donny later admitted that he deliberately kept Debbie out of the public eye, not because he was ashamed or secretive, but because he wanted to protect her from the chaos of celebrity life. "I learned early on," he once said, "that fame and privacy don't mix. And if I wanted to keep something sacred, I had to keep it out of the spotlight." That decision wasn't always well received. At the height of his career, Donny's management worried that being married would hurt his image as a teen idol. Teenage fans wanted to believe their dream boy was available, and a wife didn't fit that fantasy. So when Donny secretly married Debbie in 1978, it caused an uproar among his most devoted admirers. Some fans even went so far as to burn his posters in protest, unable to accept that their idol had chosen someone else. The backlash was painful, but for Donny it was worth it. "I married my best friend," he said years later, "and I'd do it all over again." For Debbie, who had never sought fame, the transition into the shadows of celebrity life was both strange and challenging. She supported Donny quietly from behind the scenes, raising their 5 sons and managing the home while he continued to perform and tour. Her absence from red carpets and talk shows wasn't due to secrecy or distance. It was a choice rooted in love and balance. Donny once explained that Debbie's strength came from her simplicity. "She didn't marry a star. She married a man, and she's kept me grounded ever since." Over the years, their bond only deepened as they navigated career highs and personal lows. When Donny's fame faded in the late 1980s, It was Debbie who stood by him as he reinvented himself, eventually making a comeback with his solo career and his unforgettable run on Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Through every challenge, Debbie remained steady, the quiet force who never needed applause to prove her worth. Even now, fans continue to wonder why they rarely see her, especially in an age when celebrity couples often share every detail online. But Donny remains firm in his belief that keeping Debbie's life private is what has kept their marriage strong. "The reason you don't see her much," he said in an interview, "is because she's busy being my rock." Their love story stands as a rare example in Hollywood, one built not on spectacle, but on silence. Not on publicity, but on peace. Behind Donny Osmond's eternal smile is a woman whose strength shaped him, whose faith anchored him, and whose privacy protected the life they built together. And while the cameras may never capture much of Debbie Osmond, her quiet presence remains the most powerful part of Donny's story. As Donny Osmond's fame skyrocketed through the 1970s and 1980s, the balancing act between his public image and private life became increasingly difficult. Being a husband, a father, and a superstar all at once came with a heavy emotional price. For Donny, protecting Debbie and their growing family meant drawing a clear line between Donny Osmond the entertainer and Donny Osmond the man. But in an industry where privacy was practically impossible, that boundary was constantly tested. After their marriage in 1978, Donny and Debbie moved away from the Hollywood spotlight, settling in Utah, far from the tabloids and gossip that dominated Los Angeles. While most celebrities lived for red carpets and flashing cameras, Donny craved normalcy. He wanted his kids to have a childhood untouched by fame, where they could go to school, make friends, and live freely without being labeled Osmond's children. Debbie played a central role in creating that stability. She devoted herself to raising their sons, Donald, Jeremy, Brandon, Christopher, and Joshua, making sure they grew up grounded despite their father's global fame. Behind closed doors, though, things weren't always perfect. Donny's grueling schedule meant long stretches away from home. There were tours, recordings, interviews, and television appearances that consumed months at a time. Many marriages in show business crumble under such strain, but Donny and Debbie made it work through sheer communication and faith. "There were moments when I felt torn between two worlds," Donny admitted. "I'd be in front of thousands of people, smiling, performing, and then I'd come home to a quiet house. That's when I realized how much I missed out on." Debbie understood this better than anyone. She never demanded the spotlight or resented Donny's career. Instead, she offered him the one thing the entertainment world couldn't: unconditional love. When Donny went through career slumps or faced criticism from the media, Debbie's calm presence was his refuge. During the 1980s, when Donny's popularity declined and record labels turned their attention to younger stars, it was Debbie who kept him focused and optimistic. "There were times I doubted myself," he once confessed, "but Debbie never doubted me." Their shared faith also became a crucial pillar in their marriage. As devout members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, both Donny and Debbie believed in the importance of family above fame. Their religious foundation helped them weather storms that could have easily destroyed other celebrity unions. Donny often spoke about how his faith kept him accountable as a husband and father. "When you put God and family first," he said, "everything else finds its proper place." Still, the decision to live privately didn't mean isolation. Donny occasionally shared glimpses of Debbie with fans, a red carpet appearance here, a heartfelt mention in an interview there. But he always did so with care. He refused to let the media turn their love into entertainment fodder. In today's age of constant social media exposure, this restraint has only deepened public curiosity. Many fans find it unusual that a man so open and charismatic would choose to keep his wife out of view. But for Donny, that privacy is sacred. "Our marriage isn't for public consumption," he once said. "It's for us." In many ways, Debbie's absence from the spotlight speaks louder than any public gesture could. She represents the part of Donny's life untouched by fame, the safe space where he can simply be himself. While fans remember him for his music, television shows, and dazzling smile, Debbie knows the quieter version, the husband who helps with dinner, plays with the kids, and loves being at home. That separation between image and identity is what's kept Donny sane through decades of public scrutiny. Over the years, Donny has often credited Debbie for giving him balance and perspective. He calls her his anchor, the person who keeps him steady when the tides of fame grow rough. And in a business notorious for short-lived relationships, their marriage has become something extraordinary, a lasting partnership built on mutual respect, faith, and discretion. As the world continues to chase celebrity drama and social media updates, Donny and Debbie remain proof that sometimes the greatest love stories are the ones lived quietly. Theirs isn't a romance made for headlines, it's one made for a lifetime. As Donny Osmond's career entered its later decades, the entertainment world had changed dramatically. Fame became louder, more invasive, and increasingly tied to social media. Yet Donny managed to remain relevant without compromising his principles, largely because of the stability Debbie provided behind the scenes. While he entertained millions, she quietly managed the life that made it all possible. By the time Donny returned to mainstream success with his Las Vegas residency alongside his sister Marie, the couple had already been married for over 3 decades. That alone was an achievement in Hollywood, where long-term marriages are almost mythical. But those who know Donny best say that his renewed confidence on stage wasn't just about music. It was about rediscovering gratitude for the woman who had stood by him through every high and low. Donny's Las Vegas run from 2008 to 2019 was one of the city's most successful residencies. The performances drew packed crowds night after night, yet when the spotlight dimmed, Donny's first thought was always of home. He would fly back to Utah whenever possible, eager to be with Debbie and their family. It didn't matter how good the applause was, he said once. Home was where I recharged, where I was just Don, not Donny Osmond. During those years, Debbie's influence on his personal growth became clearer. She had always been more than just a supportive spouse. She was his grounding force. When fame could have turned Donny into someone unrecognizable, she reminded him of who he truly was. Her quiet wisdom often shaped his biggest life choices. For example, when Donny was offered opportunities that could have compromised his values or conflicted with his faith, Debbie's opinion often guided the final decision. Behind every public success, she was the constant, steady, calm, and strong. She handled the pressures of fame with grace, never seeking attention or validation. That silence became her power. Fans began to realize that the reason they never saw much of her wasn't because she was hiding, but because she didn't need the spotlight to feel fulfilled. She found her pride not in red carpets, but in the life she and Donny had built together. A marriage that thrived on privacy, love, and faith. When Donny competed on Dancing with the Stars in 2009, his victory was more than a career boost. It was a personal triumph, and once again he credited Debbie. "She's my #1 supporter," he said at the time. "I couldn't have done it without her encouragement." While millions watched him glide across the ballroom floor, Debbie was at home cheering him on quietly, just as she always had. As Donny entered his 60s, he began reflecting more openly on the sacrifices Debbie made for their family. He admitted that fame sometimes made him unaware of how much she had given up. "While I was out chasing dreams," he confessed, "she was at home making sure those dreams didn't cost us everything." That acknowledgement resonated deeply with fans, especially those who admired how their marriage had withstood time and temptation. Their enduring relationship also offered a rare glimpse into what true devotion looks like in an industry built on illusion. Debbie wasn't impressed by fame, nor intimidated by it. When fans asked why she rarely appeared in public with him, Donny's response was simple. "She prefers it that way. She's happiest when she's with family. And that's exactly how I like it." Over the years, that privacy became part of Donny's mystique. In a world obsessed with celebrity couples posting every detail online, the Osmonds chose to keep their bond sacred. Their love story wasn't meant for headlines. It was meant for home. And perhaps that's why, after decades together, Donny still talks about Debbie with the same affection he had as a young man in love. Today, Donny often calls her his rock and his safe place. Their love is proof that not all success stories need to be loud or public. For Donny, fame was the dream. But Debbie was the reason it all meant something. As he once said, you can have the world's applause, but without the right person by your side, it's just noise. Their marriage remains one of Hollywood's most quietly inspiring stories, a timeless reminder that behind every shining star, there's often someone unseen, holding the light steady. As Donny Osmond looks back on his extraordinary life, the one thing he speaks about most passionately isn't the screaming fans, the sold-out shows, or even his decades-long career. It's Debbie. After nearly 50 years together, their marriage stands as one of Hollywood's most enduring love stories, one built not on publicity or glamour, but on quiet devotion, mutual respect, and deep spiritual faith. In interviews, Donny often becomes emotional when speaking about the life they've shared. He's candid about how fame can destroy relationships and how easy it is to lose touch with reality when the world idolizes you. "I've seen what fame can do," he once said. "It can make you forget what truly matters." But Debbie never allowed that to happen. She kept their world simple and grounded. No matter how big Donny became, at home, he was just a husband, a father, and a man grateful to be loved without conditions. Even during the toughest moments, when Donny battled exhaustion, career pressures, or self-doubt, Debbie stood firm. She avoided interviews, stayed off social media, and never used her husband's fame for attention. To her, privacy wasn't just a preference. It was protection. She knew that true intimacy couldn't survive under the spotlight, and Donny understood that, which is why he has always protected her right back. He once said, "I owe her everything. She's the reason I can still smile after all these years." The couple's 5 sons, Donald, Jeremy, Brandon, Christopher, and Joshua, are living proof of the stable foundation Debbie created. Donny credits her for their closeness as a family, their humility, and their shared values. Even though he was often away performing, Debbie made sure the children never felt disconnected from their father's love. Her quiet strength allowed Donny to chase his dreams without losing what mattered most, his family's unity. As Donny entered his later years, his perspective shifted even more toward gratitude. During his 2021 Las Vegas residency, fans noticed something different in his performance. A deeper emotion, a stronger sense of peace. He wasn't just performing for applause anymore. He was performing out of appreciation. Every note, every bow was a silent thank you to the woman who had stood beside him since he was 20 years old. He shared in one heartfelt message, "People ask why you never see my wife. The truth is, she's seen enough of me in the spotlight. It's my turn to let her shine at home." That simple statement resonated with millions because it revealed the heart of who Donny Osmond really is. Not just a performer, but a man who truly values love over fame. In a world where celebrity marriages often crumble under public pressure, Donny and Debbie's relationship has endured by defying that very system. Their secret was never hidden. It was just simple. They chose each other every single day, away from the noise, away from the cameras, and away from the expectations of the world. Now, as Donny reflects on a life filled with extraordinary moments, he admits that none of it would have meant anything without Debbie. "She's my anchor," he says softly. "Without her, I'd still be searching for peace." It's rare to find a love that can withstand fame, time, and silence. But theirs did. And maybe that's why fans will never stop wondering about the woman who chose to stay in the shadows. Because, in doing so, she proved that true love doesn't need to be seen to be real. In the end, Donny Osmond's greatest confession isn't about music, success, or legacy. It's that the real reason you never see his wife is because she was never chasing the spotlight. She was protecting the light that guided them both. And in doing so, Debbie Osmond became the quiet heart of one of the most beautiful love stories in show business history.